Well, as the rest of the world gets on living with COVID, here at home, two of Australia's largest businesses, Westpac and Telstra, have today moved to encourage employees to leave the office and again work from home. It follows a concerted push from the union movement to clear out government departments and send workers home. In states like Victoria, this has happened rapidly this week, reducing the Melbourne CBD once again to a ghost town. It's a really destructive cycle and it's having an enormous impact on the economy. To get into all of this, joining me now, Senior Fellow at the Institute of Public Affairs, John Roskam. I've got a twofold concern. One's the economic damage, and here we go again. And the other is that the workplace culture, young people never knowing what it's like to live in an office, becoming isolated and preferring to work from home. I think we're wrong-headed on this.
That's right, Peter. And all the overseas research indicates that the people most affected and damaged by working from home are young workers. They don't understand the office culture. They don't learn from more experienced staff. They're not mixing with their peers. Of course, there's a lot of jobs that can be done from home, but the question is, should they be done from home? And there's another question, which is, ultimately, your employer has the ability to determine where and how you should work.
So we've got some of the highest vaccination rates in the world. We were told, get jabbed, get your life back. They must be looking at us from overseas saying, what on earth, you guys are panicking. You're paralysed in Australia.
Well, we've been paralysed and panicked for 2.5 years. So it's not just working from home. We've done what the government has asked. In Melbourne, there's now masks. There's now the threat of lockdowns again. And there's this working from home debate. And life has not returned from normal. And we have the sword of Damocles over our head here in Victoria and increasingly in other states.
Well, if we're all working from home then, let's go to Victoria. Why on earth do we need to spend $100 billion on this suburban rail loop that today, in a big report from the Australian Population Research Institute, there's a lot of concern. This is actually one massive political exercise.
It's politics for two reasons. One is Labor governments don't like motorists. They don't like people living in the suburbs. And there's a second aspect to this. Exactly as you said, this is politics. This is more a strategy for Labor government to get Labor-leaning Green students and Labor voters into Liberal seats. This is about politics first, transport second.
Help me out here. So at the election, the Federal Liberal Party took forward a policy in relation. They both agreed with net zero 2050.
Which is a different topic.
Labor. But in relation to 2030 targets, the Liberal Party said our target was in the band between 26-28%. The Labor Party said, no, we want 43%. That's certainly what Anthony Albanese will put into the Parliament next week. Why on earth would the Victorian Liberals go out on the weekend and announce their target, as if a state can have a target as opposed to a nation having a target? They've got a state target now, by 2030 of 50%. It's harder and greener than Anthony Albanese.
Well, it's more left-wing than Anthony Albanese. It's more left-wing than the most extreme.
Don't they want to win the election, though?
No, and you only need to look at what happened in Western Australia, what happened federally. Whenever the Liberal Party doesn't just try to be more green than the Labor Party, but they're more left than the Labor Party, it does not work. The strategy is entirely misconceived.
I need to play a grab because when I discussed this on Monday night after the Sunday announcement, Matthew Guy was pretty quick to go after Sky News. Let's have a listen.
The New South Wales Liberal Party set the same target and it's kind of not much a big deal. They just get on with business. The Victorian Liberal Party sets it. Seems to trigger a whole bunch of people on Sky TV.
I've been around the Liberal Party a long time. I reckon I've got a good sense of where the membership is. I don't think they're happy with
the
this.
Membership is up in arms and they're terribly disappointed that a Liberal leader is, as I said, trying to be more left-wing than Dan Andrews. That is not the way to win government.
John Roskam, thank you for your common sense.